an actual security team behind it. In December 2025, a hacker got hold of a leaked Chrome Web Store API key belonging to Trust Wallet, one of the most established wallet providers in the industry, and used it to push a malicious version of the real Trust Wallet extension, version 2.68, directly to the Chrome Web Store, bypassing Trust Wallet's own internal review process entirely. It went live on December 24th, 2025, auto-updating quietly in the background of users' browsers, the exact same way any routine update would. By the time it was caught, it had drained approximately $7 million from hundreds of victims, around $3 million in Bitcoin, over $3 million in Ethereum, funds that were quickly routed through exchanges and cross-chain bridges to make them harder to trace. Trust Wallet's own CEO confirmed publicly that this update never went through their standard release process. It was purely an external attacker exploiting a stolen credential, and the users who lost funds had done nothing wrong. They followed every rule self-custody advocates preach. Never share your seed phrase, verify the source, use a reputable wallet. They still lost money because the attack happened one layer above the blockchain, inside the browser itself. This isn't a small, contained problem either. Separate academic research examining crypto-themed malicious extensions found that 57 extensions in their sample specifically mimicked wallet setup pages purely to harvest seed phrases, and that 4.4% of those malicious extensions slipped past detection from 31 different antivirus engines. Sit with that number for a second. 84%. Your antivirus, in the overwhelming majority of cases, is simply not built to catch this category of threat, because the theft doesn't look like theft. It looks like a normal transaction, a normal setup. Screen, a normal update. And just this month, in July 2026, researchers uncovered yet another variation, a malware framework being called Okobot, which injects fake seed phrase recovery prompts directly into legitimate Ledger and Trezor hardware wallet companion apps using a hidden keylogger to capture everything typed, alongside clipboard and screen activity, across more than 25 countries. Even the hardware wallet ecosystem, the option security researchers usually recommend as the safer alternative, is now being targeted through the software layer that surrounds it. 3 extensions, 3 completely different methods. One posing as your protector while selling your AI conversations, one earning years of genuine trust before flipping into a data stripping backdoor overnight, one built from scratch to look exactly like the wallet you were already planning to use, engineered specifically to steal the one string of words that controls everything you own. Different disguises, same outcome, and the same uncomfortable truth sitting underneath all 3. The Chrome Web Store's rating system, its featured badges, its search rankings, none of it was ever a real safety guarantee. So now the only question that actually matters is, what do you do about it, starting today? So let's zoom out for a second, because the 3 cases you just heard aren't isolated horror stories. They're symptoms of one structural problem that nobody in the crypto space likes to talk about enough. Blockchain analytics firm Chainalysis put total crypto theft in 2025 at $3.4 billion. Separate research breaking down the layers where 2025 exploits actually happened found that more than 20% of attacks targeted the browser and wallet extension layer specifically, above the blockchain itself, not below it. Not smart contract bugs, not private key math getting broken. The browser, the place where you copy-paste, click connect wallet, and trust that the extension sitting in your toolbar is exactly what it claims to be. Here's the sentence worth remembering from all of this. A browser extension is a piece of software with deep access to everything you type, everything you view, and everything you click, running with almost no ongoing scrutiny after the day you install it. Security researchers have described the browser as one of the most hostile environments in modern computing, and the data backs that up. Software wallets and browser-based wallets show an incident rate above 15% over time, compared to under 5% for people using dedicated hardware wallets. That's not a small gap. That's 3 times the risk, sitting in a tool most people install in under 10 seconds and never think about again. So what do you actually do with all of this? Because the point of this video isn't to scare you into deleting your browser and living off-grid. It's to make you precise about where the real risk lives and to give you a checklist you can run through in the next 15 minutes. First, and this needs to happen today, not this weekend. Open Chrome, try your extensions in your address bar if you're on Chrome or Edge. Extensions if you're on Edge, when press enter. Look at every single extension listed, million users. People who installed a simple ad blocker with zero interest in VPNs or AI tools still had their AI conversations quietly siphoned off in the background every single time they opened a chatbot tab. Google eventually pulled the extensions. But removal from a store is not the same thing as removal from your computer. Deleting a listing doesn't reach into 6 million individual browsers and uninstall anything. If Urban VPN, one-click VPN proxy, Urban Browser Guard, or Urban Ad Blocker is sitting in your extensions bar right now, it is still there, and it may still be running. That's extension number 1, the privacy tool that spied on you. But this next one is arguably more disturbing because it proves that an extension can behave perfectly for years, earn your complete trust, and then flip into something dangerous overnight, using the exact same update system that's supposed to keep you safe. Picture an extension you installed a year ago, maybe longer. It's done exactly what it promised, day after day, with zero complaints. You forgot it was even there. That's not a flaw in your judgment. That's how trust is supposed to work. And that is precisely the weakness that this next case exploited with brutal precision. In late February 2026, security researchers at a firm called Annex published findings on an extension called Quick Lens Search. Screened with Google Lens. On the surface, it was a small, useful tool. It let users run Google Lens image searches directly from their browser without hopping between tabs. It had built up roughly 7,000 users over time, a modest but loyal base, and at one point it had even earned Google's featured badge, that same trust signal we just talked about with Urban VPN. Small, legitimate, well-reviewed. Exactly the kind of extension nobody thinks twice about. Then ownership changed hands. On February 1st, 2026, researchers found that control of the extension shifted to an account linked to an email address, support@doodlebugle.op, operating under a shell entity calling itself LLC Quick Lens. The new owner quietly swapped in a privacy policy hosted on a barely functioning website. 16 days later, on February 17th, 2026, version 5.8 went live. And that update didn't just tweak a feature. It rewired the entire extension into a weapon. The new version requested expanded permissions that had nothing to do with searching images. Permissions like declarative net request, with host access, and web request, which hand an extension deep control over every request your browser makes and every page you visit. Buried in the update was a configuration file that stripped out core security headers from every single page you loaded. Content security policy, X-frame options, XXSS protection, the digital guardrails that are supposed to stop things, like clickjacking and script injection. Annex researchers described it bluntly. For every page, every frame, every request, those protections were simply gone. Your browser was wide open and you had no idea. But here's the part that should hit hardest if you hold crypto. The malicious update was specifically built to detect whether you had a crypto wallet extension installed. It checked for MetaMask, Phantom, Coinbase Wallet, Trust Wallet, Soulflare, Backpack, Brave Wallet, Exodus, Binance Chain Wallet, Wallet Connect, and Argon. If it found one, it activated scripts designed to intercept wallet activity and harvest seed phrases aiming to hijack the wallet and drain whatever was inside. Separate scripts scraped. Stored login credentials and payment details from forms you filled out anywhere on the web. It didn't stop at crypto either. Additional payloads pulled data from Gmail inboxes, scraped Facebook Business Manager advertising accounts, and collected YouTube channel information. This wasn't a narrow crypto theft tool. It was a full surveillance and drain operation wearing the disguise of a Google Lens shortcut. And the delivery method is what should genuinely worry you, because it wasn't a phishing email or a fake download link. It was Chrome's own automatic update system, the exact mechanism designed to patch security holes and push improvements to your extensions without you having to lift a finger. That same convenience became the delivery truck for the attack. 7,000 people who had trusted this extension for years never clicked anything, never approved anything, never saw a warning. One morning, the tool on their browser was simply different, and by the time anyone noticed, it had already been actively siphoning data for weeks. This is not an isolated pattern either. Late in 2025, researchers documented a separate but chillingly similar case. A threat actor group that had spent close to 7 years quietly building trust through legitimate wallpaper apps, productivity tools, and new tab replacements, some of which reached millions of installs and earned Google's highest trust badges, before flipping several of them into a coordinated backdoor almost simultaneously. Different names, different year, same exact playbook, build years of legitimate credibility, then cash it in overnight through the auto-update pipe that every browser trusts by default. So ask yourself honestly, when's the last time you actually opened your extensions list and really looked at what's sitting in there? Not the ones you use daily, the ones you forgot about, the screen capture tool, the old note-taking add-on, the wallpaper changer you installed 2 years ago and never removed. Every one of those is a live surface for exactly this kind of attack, because the threat isn't the extension's original code. It's whatever code that extension is allowed to silently become tomorrow. Google removed QuickLens from the Chrome Web Store once Annex went public with the findings. But just like with UrbanVPN, removal from the store did nothing for the 7,000 people who already had version 5.8 sitting live on their machines, still capable of scanning for wallet extensions and stripping their browser's defenses. If that extension, or anything resembling it, a small utility that recently changed hands or pushed a permissions update you didn't expect, is on your system, it needs to go, and you need to check your wallet activity immediately after. 2 extensions down, both of them tricked people through trust. One by posing as a privacy tool from day one, the other by earning genuine trust and then betraying it years later. But the third case is the one that should scare crypto holders the most, because this isn't about your data getting sold or your browser getting backdoored. This is about an extension built from the ground up with a single purpose. Watch you type your seed phrase and quietly hand it straight to an attacker using a method so clever that almost nothing catches it. In November 2025, researchers at a security firm called Socket were combing through the Chrome Web Store when they found an extension called Safery Ethereum Wallet. On the outside, there was nothing that screamed scam. Clean icon, professional listing, description text that read like every other legitimate wallet. No broken English, no obvious red flags, no warning. Signs you'd catch on a casual scroll. It ranked as the 4th result when someone searched Ethereum Wallet on the Chrome Web Store, sitting right next to household names like MetaMask, as if it belonged in that company. It had been quietly live since September 29, 2025, and was still being updated as late as November 12th, meaning it sat there, active, for roughly a month and a half, doing exactly what it was built to do. Here's the mechanism, and it's worth slowing down for, because it's one of the most quietly brilliant pieces of malicious engineering to show up in crypto security research recently. When a user created a new wallet or imported an existing one by typing in their 12 or 24-word seed phrase, the extension behaved exactly like a real wallet. Nothing looked off. But hidden inside, a separate piece of code took that seed phrase and encoded it into a series of fake SUI blockchain addresses. It then broadcast a set of microtransactions, each worth a fraction of a cent, to those encoded addresses, all sent from a wallet controlled by the attacker. To any automated security tool watching for suspicious behavior, this looked like nothing. There was no obvious data leaving the browser to some sketchy server, no red flag network request. The seed phrase left the device disguised as a completely unremarkable, publicly visible blockchain transaction. The attacker simply monitored those addresses, decoded them, reconstructed the full seed phrase, and drained the wallet whenever they felt like it. Socket's researcher, Kirill Boychenko, described it plainly. The mnemonic leaves the browser hidden inside normal-looking blockchain transactions. That's why traditional antivirus and browser security scanners walked right past it for weeks. And Safery wasn't a one-off. In February 2026, Socket's threat research team caught another one, an extension impersonating the popular mToken wallet. This one used a slightly different trick. Instead of hiding the theft in blockchain transactions, it acted as a redirect mechanism. It pulled a target phishing URL from a hard-coded remote file, sent victims to a fraudulent lookalike domain, and walked them through what appeared to be a normal wallet setup. Enter your seed phrase, set a local password, watch a fake upgrading loading screen. Then it quietly redirected the victim to the real, official mToken website, so that by the time anything felt off, the user assumed they'd simply had a hiccup during setup. Meanwhile, their seed phrase was already gone. This extension used fake 5-star reviews and a fabricated privacy policy, claiming zero data collection to look legitimate. The exact same trust signal manipulation we've seen twice already in this video. If you think this only happens to careless people who install obscure knockoff apps, consider what happened to an extension with there. Not just the ones you remember, installing all of them. Ask yourself 3 questions for each one. Do I actually use this? Do I recognize exactly who built it? And have I checked it in the last month? If the honest answer to any of those is no, remove it. Extensions you forgot about are not neutral, sitting quietly and doing nothing. They are a growing surface for attack. Every single day they stay installed because any one of them can be sold, hijacked, or silently rewritten at any point without your consent. The same way QuickLens was. The same way that 7-year-old wallpaper campaign was. Second, if you have UrbanVPN and proxy, one-click VPN proxy, Urban Browser Guard, or Urban Ad Blocker installed, remove it right now. And if you used any AI chatbot while that extension was active after July 9th, 2025, assume that conversation history is no longer private, especially anything involving wallet addresses, recovery details, or financial information you typed into an AI assistant for help. Third, and this is the rule that should be non-negotiable going forward, never install a crypto wallet extension by searching for it inside the Chrome Web Store. Never. Position in a search result means absolutely nothing. We just watched a fake wallet. Rank fourth, right next to MetaMask. A featured badge means nothing. UrbanVPN had one. Star ratings mean nothing. They can be faked with a handful of dollars in a few hours. Instead, go directly to the wallet provider's official website. Type the URL yourself, metamask.io, phantom.app, trustwallet.com, whatever it is, and install the extension only through the link they provide on their own site. Fourth, actually read the permissions an extension asks for before you click install, and again, anytime it asks for new ones after an update. A basic ad blocker doesn't need access to every website you visit and your full browsing history. A screen search tool doesn't need permission to intercept and modify network requests across your entire browser. When the permissions being requested go far beyond what the extension's stated purpose requires, that mismatch is one of the clearest early warning signs available to you. And it's the one almost nobody stops to actually read. Fifth, turn on two-factor authentication everywhere you can. Every exchange account, every platform tied to your identity. It won't stop a seed phrase theft on its own, because if someone has your seed phrase, they control the wallet directly, and 2FA on an exchange doesn't touch that. But it closes off other paths attackers use, and layered defense is still the smartest posture in an environment like this. And finally, have an honest conversation with yourself about how much value you're comfortable keeping in a browser-based hot wallet at all. If the number sitting in that MetaMask or Phantom extension would genuinely hurt if it disappeared tomorrow, that's a strong signal it belongs in cold storage instead. A hardware wallet where your keys never touch the browser, never touch an extension, and never sit exposed in one of the most targeted environments in all of computing. None of these attacks, not UrbanVPN, not QuickLens, not Safari, not the mToken clone, not the Trust Wallet API breach, required the victim to do anything reckless. Nobody clicked a phishing link. Nobody sent funds to the wrong address. They installed something that looked completely legitimate, trusted a badge and a rating that were never actually a safety guarantee, and paid for it. That's genuinely unsettling, and it should be. But it also means the fix is within your control, starting the moment you close this tab and go check your own extensions list. So do it right now before you forget, before the next tab distracts you. Go check a Chrome, $extensions, or Edge, $extensions. And if anything in this video sounded even slightly familiar, remove it today. If this breakdown helped you catch something you'd overlooked, hit like so it reaches someone else who needs to see this before it's too late for them. Subscribe if you want the next threat covered the moment it surfaces, and drop a comment telling me which extension you just found and deleted. I want to know how many of you are walking away from this with one less risk sitting in your browser. You installed it to protect yourself. That's the part that should make you angry. Not a random pop-up ad, not a sketchy torrent site, not some Telegram link a stranger sent you. You went to the Chrome Web Store yourself, searched for something that promised privacy, saw a 4.5-star rating, saw millions of downloads, saw Google's own featured badge sitting right next to it like a stamp of approval, and you clicked install. And that single click is how your seed phrase ends up on a server in a country you'll never visit, being sold to a data broker whose name you've never heard. Here's the number you need to sit with before we go any further. In 2025, crypto theft crossed $3.4 billion. According to Chainalysis, one of the most respected blockchain analytics firms in the industry. Of that figure, $713 million came specifically from personal wallet compromises, not exchange hacks, not smart contract exploits. Individual people with their own wallets losing money because something on their own computer betrayed them. And a huge share of that something lives in a place almost nobody audits, your browser's extension bar. Today, we're going through 3 extensions. 3 real cases with real names, real dates, and real victims. Not hypotheticals, not what-if scenarios cooked up for a thumbnail. These happened. 2 of them happened this year in 2026. And if you have any of these installed right now, or anything like them, you need to know before you finish watching this video, because every extra day you wait is another day someone else has eyes on your browser. Let's start with the one that makes security researchers the angriest, because it's the most cynical of the 3. You install a tool specifically because it promises to protect your privacy, and the privacy tool is the threat. In December 2025, a cybersecurity firm called Koi Security dropped a report that rattled the crypto and AI communities in the same week. The extension at the center of it was Urban VPN Proxy, 4.7 stars. Over 6 million downloads on Chrome alone, another 1.3 million on Microsoft Edge, and it carried Google's official featured badge, a label that, according to Google's own documentation, means a human reviewer personally looked at this extension's code and behavior and decided it met a higher standard of trust. This wasn't some no-name extension buried on page 12 of search results. This was near the top, wearing Google's own seal of approval. Its pitch was simple. Hide your IP, protect your identity, browse safely. It even had a feature called AI Protection, which claimed to scan your prompts for personal data before you accidentally handed something sensitive to a chatbot. Sounds responsible, right? Here's what was actually happening behind that friendly interface. On July 9th, 2025, Urban VPN's developer, a company called Urban Cybersecurity Inc., pushed a silent update, version 5.5.0, to every single user. No pop-up asking permission. No email. Just a routine auto-update, the same kind your browser installs while you're not even looking. That update quietly activated code that monitored your open tabs. The instant you opened any of 8. Major AI platforms, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Perplexity, DeepSeek, Grok, or Meta AI, the extension injected a dedicated script into that page. Each platform had its own file. Claude.js, ChatGPT.js, Gemini.js. Once that script loaded, it overrode the core browser functions responsible for sending and receiving network requests, positioning itself as a silent middleman between you and the AI. Every prompt you typed, every answer you got back, captured, packaged, and shipped straight to Urban VPN's own infrastructure, and from there, sold to a data broker called ByScience. Now think about how people actually use AI chatbots when they're dealing with crypto. They paste in wallet addresses to sanity check a transaction. They ask an AI to explain a seed phrase recovery process. They describe a phishing email they just received and ask if it's legit. They troubleshoot smart contract code, paste API keys, ask about tax implications tied to specific holdings. None of that was private. All of it was flowing straight through Urban VPN's servers, independent of whether the VPN was even switched on. Koi Security's co-founder, Aydin Dardikman, confirmed there was no toggle, no setting, no way to opt out short of deleting the extension entirely. If you had it installed after July 9th, 2025, and you used any AI chatbot during that window, you should assume that conversation is sitting in a database that doesn't belong to you anymore. And it gets worse because Urban VPN wasn't operating alone. Koi Security found the exact same harvesting code baked into 7 other extensions from the same publisher. One-click VPN Proxy, Urban Browser Guard, Urban Ad Blocker, spread across both the Chrome Web Store and Microsoft Edge add-ons. Total reach across all 8 extensions, roughly 8.